Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Blumenergy's fourth quarter 2022 earnings conference call. To supplement this conference call, we furnished our fourth quarter 2022 earnings press release with the SEC on Form 8-K and have posted it, along with supplemental financial information that we will reference throughout this call, to our investor relations website. During this conference call, both in our prepared remarks and in answers to your questions, we may make forward-looking statements that represent our expectations regarding future events and our future financial performance. These include statements about the company's business results, products, new markets, strategy, financial position, liquidity, and full-year outlook for 2023. These statements are predictions based upon our expectations, estimates, and assumptions. However, as these statements deal with future events, they are subject to numerous known and unknown risks and uncertainties as discussed in detail in our documents filed with the SEC, including our most recently filed Forms 10-K and 10-Q. We assume no obligation to revise any forward-looking statements made on today's call. During this call and in our fourth quarter 2022 earnings press release, we refer to GAAP and non-GAAP financial measures. The non-GAAP financial measures are not prepared in accordance with U.S. generally accepted accounting principles and are in addition to, and not a substitute for, or superior to, measures of financial performance prepared in accordance with GAAP. A reconciliation between the GAAP and non-GAAP financial measures is included in our fourth quarter 2022 earnings press release available in our investor relations website. Joining me on the call today are K.R. Sridhar, Founder, Chairman, and Chief Executive Officer, and Greg Cameron, our Chief Financial Officer. K.R. will begin with an overview of our business, then Greg will review the operating and financial highlights of the quarter, as well as the outlook for 2023. And after our prepared remarks, we will have time to take your questions. I will now turn the call over to K.R.
Thank you, Ed. Good day, everyone. Blumenergy finished 2022 in a very strong position as our resilient and sustainable energy solutions experienced wider adoption, and we were aided by good tailwinds. We expect this trend to continue in 2023 and beyond. Our revenues and gross margins were records for the fourth quarter and for the full year, and we closed 2022 with a $10 billion backlog, the strongest order book in Bloom's history. We continue to innovate at a rapid pace to further strengthen our technology leadership and competitive advantage. In 2022, we demonstrated record-breaking efficiencies for hydrogen production using our electrolyzers and successfully lab-tested our highly promising carbon capture technology. We released a combined heat and power offering that we are very excited about. This offering has wide-ranging applications, including in the European markets we are now entering, and for industries that can use the heat. We successfully deployed our marine product on schedule. Bloom has also invested in operations and doubled our manufacturing capacity. I'm proud of our team for all we have accomplished in 2022. We are excited about 2023 and are looking forward to building on the momentum we have generated. We are establishing ourselves as the energy company that offers our customers practical and purposeful solutions. We call it the power of and. When it comes to energy, we need security and sustainability, reliability and resiliency, affordability and availability. Simply put, when it comes to energy, a resource that is foundational to our well-being or should not be an option. The Blumenergy technology platform delivers on the power of and. The future looks very bright for growing our electricity and hydrogen solutions both domestically and internationally. We are very pleased with the quality and composition of our $10 billion order book. It offers predictability and visibility. We have talked to you in the past about the issue of time to power. Utilities are not able to meet the growing need of commercial and industrial customers for additional power. Let me elaborate on this. Businesses are expanding and many are reshoring their operations. Digital transformation is driving steep growth in data center loads. Vehicles and appliances are being electrified. All these trends are causing a surge in energy demand. At the same time, geopolitics, climate concerns, and NIMBYism are making a very difficult global energy transition even harder. There is long-term policy uncertainty, permitting chaos, erroneous political decisions to shut down or not allow infrastructure growth based on unrealistic transition timelines, all of which have significantly stunted growth of energy supply. Many jurisdictions have turned to dirty and unreliable sources of energy to cope with this situation. California has spent billions of dollars on dirty diesel generators and antiquated power plants to keep the lights on during the summer. The Northeast is heating homes this winter with carbon-intensive heavy oil due to the lack of cleaner gas. And Europe has been forced to reopen coal power plants. We see this acute supply-demand mismatch globally. This imbalance has seriously threatened energy availability, security, and affordability. It has also compromised the health of people and businesses around the world. Furthermore, it has set the world back on its sustainability goals. The biannual EPA e-grid numbers came out last week, and they show that marginal and average CO2 emissions have gone up in the last couple years in many geographies. Additionally, the prolonged power outages experienced repeatedly in places like the U.S. Gulf states speak to the fragility of the grid. Commercial and industrial consumers of energy are alarmed by the lack of secure, affordable, and reliable energy options from their utilities. They are increasingly wanting to take control of their own energy destiny. Many of them are turning to Bloom for behind-the-meter solutions in these situations. It should be no surprise to you then that we have booked over 100 megawatts of orders from customers in the U.S. to solve their time to power issue. Also, as Greg will cover in his remarks, we have made great progress operationally. We will leverage our technology advances, increased manufacturing scale, and other efficiencies to drive improvements in our margin profile. The Cost Down program is a cornerstone value for Bloom and is part of our DNA. Lowering our cost of goods should enable us to enjoy both growth and profitability. Bloom is now a predictable growth company. We offer the world a unique, mature, and proven platform solution at scale, a solution that can be deployed today with a clear pathway to a net zero future. With that, let me turn it over to Greg to discuss our financial performance. Greg?
Thanks, KR. This past year, we achieved strong commercial, operational, and financial results that position us to be a leader in the global energy transition. Let me begin with a few highlights. We had record revenues. For the fourth quarter, product and service revenue was up over 41%, and total revenue increased more than 35% versus a robust fourth quarter 2021. For the year, product and service revenue was over $1 billion, and total revenue was $1.2 billion. Our margins improved. Fourth quarter non-GAAP gross margins surpassed 30%, resulting in 23% for the year, up 130 basis points versus prior year. Our backlogs for systems and service has reached $10 billion, the largest in Bloom history. We completed the first phase of our Fremont factory, adding 300 megawatts of stack manufacturing capacity, which doubled our capacity from the beginning of the year. And we built 2 gigawatts of electrolyzer assembly capacity in Delaware. We are providing a 2023 framework consistent with our long-term guidance built on strong growth and margin expansion. With those as highlights, let me provide some additional context to our performance. The value proposition for our energy servers and electrolyzers is robust. Our customers need resilient power that reduces their carbon intensity while providing optionality to move to on-site net zero solutions like hydrogen in the future. Our time to power value proposition is particularly meaningful for manufacturers and data centers, especially when the local utility is unable to provide the additional power to support their growth. For our electrolyzer, we are engaged with large-scale developers of hydrogen and green ammonia projects. They clearly value the efficiency advantages of our solid oxide technology and our manufacturing readiness. We are also partnering with developers for significant opportunities in waste to energy. In some instances, we are providing power solutions to enable low carbon intensity renewable fuels, and in other cases, we're providing solutions to use biogas for resilient power across dairies, landfills, and wastewater treatment facilities. Opportunities are progressing with a sense of urgency, aided by the United States Inflation Reduction Act and similar incentives in Canada and Europe. The system backlog for our 24/7 always-on energy server is $2.8 billion, up 16% versus prior year. When combined with the revenue that should be earned on service contracts, we have a total backlog of $10 billion, up 17% versus year-end 2021. When comparing year-over-year growth and backlog, it's important to remember that in 2022, it was the first year of a 3-year take-or-pay contract with SK ecoplant that was included in our 2021 backlog. When adjusting comparisons to reflect SK ecoplant's 2022 deliveries, our system contract value backlog has increased 41% versus prior year. Our fourth quarter non-GAAP gross margins of 30% improved 9.2 points versus the fourth quarter 2021. The margin increase was driven by improved pricing mix on our fourth quarter acceptances, unit cost reductions, ITC benefits, PPA4 repowering, and product revenue being a larger percentage of the total revenue. We benefited by a convergence of these events in the past quarter, and we would not expect this margin rate to be our new baseline. The PPA4 repowering was similar to the PPA3A repowering in the second quarter. We executed the sale of a previously consolidated PPA entity, and by doing so, we eliminated $70.8 million of non-recourse debt, enhanced current margins on higher ASPs, and simplified our financial reporting. As part of this transaction, we recorded $73 million of charges through our electricity segment, operating expenses, and other expense that were removed as pro forma adjustments from our non-GAAP reporting. We have one remaining consolidated entity, PPA5, that we may repower in late 2023 or early 2024 with a similar approach. Our supply chain and manufacturing teams are successfully navigating the current environment. We completed the first phase of our Fremont facility expansion, which doubled our stack manufacturing capacity from the beginning of the year from 300 megawatts to 600 megawatts. As the number of builds increased, we saw a decrease in our unit costs quarter over quarter. To reduce costs in 2023, we are increasing the power density of our energy server, identifying material savings, securing supply chain deflation, automating manufacturing processes, and benefiting from operating leverage. We fully expect to return to our annual product cost reductions of 10 to 15%. We ended the year with more than $500 million in cash balances. These balances do not yet include the $310 million from the SK ecoplant equity investment, which is expected to close in the first quarter, subject to remaining regulatory approvals. Last quarter, given the rising interest rates, we elected not to factor over $160 million in eligible receivables. Had we factored these receivables, cash flow from operations usage in 2022 would have been only $31.7 million, roughly half of our 2021 usage of $60.7 million.